Hello. What the fuck? Get out of here. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. We're doing something different today. We're reading. We're reading. You know, imagine actually picking up a book and reading. What do you mean? Why do I have a crown? I don't know why you have a crown. Why are you asking me? I don't see no crowns. We're reading today. We're going to be reading ReZero. Yes. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I want to maybe finish Arc 1 this stream, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Let me show you. Okay? Show me then. Show me. What is this? Where's my Instagram? Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck my Instagram, dude? All my icons are gray. There. Okay. I think I'm colorblind, chat. I don't know why you have a crown. Maybe it's something like has to do with why does it say 50 XP? Oh, but I need to look at this. I need why is it what? Dog, you ain't finishing Arc 1 in one chapter. I don't know, bro. ReZero was long ass novel. Yeah, I know. But you know. I don't know. Hold up. Let me log on to a different account and see. Because I'm on my main account, so I can moderate. But let me switch to a different account and check out the stream. And see as to why it's doing that. It's not showing for me. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know. It's probably you know, it's probably a you problem right there. I am farming XP. 40 likes. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why you're getting XP or something. I don't know. Maybe it's like because you're #1 chatter. I guess that's why. I don't fucking know. Because I'm looking at this picture and you have a crown next to your name with a #1 and then there's 50 XP. I don't know what that's all about. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Let's switch over to here. Lock this and delete this. Yes. I'm gonna solo level this shit. Yeah. Wait, I gotta move chat back to where it's supposed to be. Where is chat? Right here. Move chat back down here. There we go. There we go, chat. Look at that. Let me play some music for y'all. Let me know how good how the music sounds. Call me Jinu, cause I am gonna rise and become the gayest commenter in all of Narnia. Damn, bro. I'm gonna mute myself real quick to see how the music sounds. Okay. The music's all right. I can hear. I can hear it. Hopefully, you know, it doesn't overpower my voice. It shouldn't. It's somewhat low. Gotta go back here. Here's a table of contents. We got the table of contents right here, bro. Okay. So we got credits for the translations belong to SN user TL. Was fully translated arc 1. Its chapters are hosted here, which is called translations. Yeah. Yeah. Reading ReZero, written by, what was his name again? I got his name, bro. Hold up. Right here. Tape Nagatsuki. Tape Nagatsuki. It's the web novel, bro. Yeah, well, this is the only one I can read, okay? What else would I be reading? I can't. No, this is the only one I can read, okay? Okay? Oh god, you're gonna be exposed to web novels super. Why, bro? This is the only one I can read. This is all I found online, okay? Dog. What dog? Alright, don't dog me. Why are you dogging me? Japanese web novel. Yeah. You'll see degenerate Subaru. Okay. Bro. So what, bro? So what? So what? You know, this is the one that's there, so this is the one I'm reading. Also, kind of need to zoom in. Plus. That should be good. Web novel Subaru is a bigger loser than the official novel. Well, I don't have the official novel. You will not stand the cringe. Bro, Mushoku Tensei is my like all-time favorite Riken series, bro. And that's cringe as fuck sometimes. Still. I don't know, bro. I don't know. And Arc 2 and Arc 3 for the web novel aren't translated. Well, this is I think this is an official. Hold up. 1 second. Yeah, cuz it's here. It's this. It's this right here. It's translated here. This is a different level of cringe, bro. Yeah, because this has everything, I think. Yeah, because it's arc 3, which has 6 phases, or 5. Arc 6. Yeah, they're just translated by these guys. Then it's all these phases, bro. And we got arc 7. Arc 8. Arc 9. And then side content. So there's oh, it's arc 9. Arc 2, it's only translated by a few chapters and it ends up in a cliffhanger. I don't know how. I don't know. Let me see. Periodically with available translated chapters. Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I don't know where to access anything else though, because this is the only place I can read them. So I don't know where one would find novels online. Cat, get off my damn desk. I tell you tons of times. I don't know. It seems like everything online just has the web novel. Well, there's this. This is just framed as a book, so this looks uncomfortable to read. This is it, but it's just a book. I could just read this one. I read for arc 2 and 3. Arc 4 is too long. Maybe start with arc 6. Why though? I found the first novel here. That's, I don't know if they have the other ones. This is volume 1. I don't know if this has volume 2 on here. Any flip? Fucks. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But I don't know. I don't know. It's right here. This is book 1 right here. I don't know where the rest are. I don't know how to view the rest. I don't know if this person has it. Arc 6 is where the light novel and web novel start to merge. I see. I don't know what that means. Got the Rising of the Shield Hero. Got Solo Leveling. Bacano. Tanya the Evil. Like, the differences become so trivial, they're basically the same thing. Well, yeah, but, you know, I want to read the entire series. That's why I'm reading it. It's not like with manga where I would just continue off where the anime ends. It's a bit different than manga, I guess. I don't know. Could read it here, but I don't know where to find the other volumes. I guess I could just search ReZero here. Man, what the fuck is this, bro? Why are you giving me friggin'... What the fuck, bro? I'm just trying to find ReZero, bro. ReZero. I don't know if I put the full name, bro. Starting a life in another world. Yeah, I know there's a full screen. I'm just trying to find the rest of the freaking novels. I don't know where they are. Because this is volume 1. And I would need to find the rest if I'm going to read them off of here. Google ReZero volume 1 any flip on Google. Well, I'm not trying to find volume 1 because this is volume. I'm trying to find volume 2. Yeah, I'm going to read volume 1 on here. But like, any flip directly won't let you find it. Yeah. Let me just search that up. ReZero. Oh, right here. There. Volume 2. Okay. Yeah, but since this has everything, I'm just gonna... I've used this. The only way to find them is Google. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll use this website to find out, you know, read, I guess. Because this is 1 volume, right? This is all 1 volume? Arc 1, right? I've used this. The only way to yeah. So is this all 1 volume right here? Which is just Arc 1? Or what? Or will it like how like how's that go? How will the arc split up into volumes? I'll use this to read the side stories. So once I finish arc 1, I'll come over to the side content and then read it off of here. Yes, arc 1 is 1 volume. Okay, cool. So yeah, once I finish arc 1 after some time or something, I don't know, I will read these. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Which I gotta readjust this size though. I gotta readjust the size of my thing. Actually, do I? Let me check. Full screen. Let me see. Will it fit properly? It should, right? It should. Yeah, okay. If it's somewhat perfectly, it's a little bit like more spacious over here, but whatever. At least the entire book is on frame. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we should start reading. I will, of course, be giving everyone a voice because that's how I am. And yeah. Okay. We'll start. It's the prologue. The waste heat of the beginning. It's just see it. Okay. This is really, really not good. Feeling the hard texture of the ground against his face, he realizes that he had fallen face down on the ground. He couldn't move, even when he tried, and he already couldn't feel his fingers. When he did feel, or what he did, I need to zoom in actually. I need to readjust this. I need to zoom in. The text is too small. So let me adjust this. Let me adjust this a bit. Okay. I'll adjust that like that. And then zoom in. Where's right here? Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. What he did feel was a certain heat, and it overwhelmed his entire body. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. Can you scroll zoom? Yeah, I can. It's hot. 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 He coughed and vomited his blood. He coughed and vomited the blood he felt rising in his throat. The source of his waning life. So much came out that it frothed at the edges of his mouth. With his hazy vision, he could see the ground in front of him, stained red. You gotta be kidding me. All of this is mine? Feeling as though all of the blood in his body had spilled out of him, he reached a shaking hand to try to find the source of the heat that was burning through his body. As his fingertips reached the large cut in his stomach, he understood. No wonder it felt so hot. His brain must have been mistaking pain for heat. The clean gash that ran through his torso was so deep it had almost sliced him in half. Only bits of skin were still holding him together. In other words, he had run right into a checkmate in the chess game of his life. As soon as he realized that, his consciousness immediately began to fall away from him. Before his eyes, he saw a black boot descended. What? Black boot descended? Making ripples in the red pool of his fresh blood. Someone was there, and that someone was probably the one who killed him. But he didn't even think to look that person in the face. It didn't matter anymore. The one thing he did wish was that she, at least, would be safe. Baru. He felt as he heard a voice that rang like bells. That he heard that voice, that he could hear that voice. It felt like salvation to him more than anything else. So, with a short scream, someone else crumpled upon the carpet of blood. She landed right beside him. He lay there, weakly attempting to reach her. Her white hand felt powerless. He lightly grasped it in his own, blood-stained grip. He felt the fingers of her hand move slightly to accept his own. Just you wait. He seized his fading consciousness, pulling it desperately back to buy a bit more time. I'm going to find a way to save you. In the next instant, Subaru Natsuki, lost his life. Okay, what did you say? I can nearly zoom through my YouTube screen. Descend. Yeah, descend. It says descend. It's weird how it's written. I don't know. Cause where was it again? It was Oh, I'm on the second page. Okay. Whatever. The end of the beginning. This is really going to be a problem. With no money and no idea what to do, he repeated the thought over and over again in his mind. Well, it wasn't completely accurate to say he had no money. The wallet in his pocket was filled with all the cash he owned, enough to go on a little bit of a shopping spree if he had to, under normal circumstances. But in this case, no money is really the only way he described the situation. Yeah, but the currency system here is completely different, isn't it? The young man flicked his rare notched 10 yen coin in the air and breathed a deep sigh. He didn't really have any features about him that stood out. He had short black hair and was of average height, but neither short nor tall. Being neither short nor tall, he was a bit muscular though, as if he had been working out, and the cheap gray tracksuit that he was wearing really suited him quite well. He had small irises, so the whites of his eyes stood out. But right now, the way his eyes were downcast, he didn't have a very aggressive or championing look to him. He looked average enough to be quickly lost in a crowd. But right now, most of those passing by looking at him out of the corner of their eyes as if they were looking at something strange. If they were looking at something strange they had never seen before. But that was to be expected, after all. Among all those onlookers, not one of them had black hair, nor were any of them wearing tracksuits. They had blonde hair, red hair, and brown hair. Some even had blue or green hair, among others, and they were wearing armor or black robes, or the kind of costumes a dancer might wear, that sort of thing. As he stood before the waves of open stairs, the young man crossed his arms and had no other option but to accept the truth. "This has got to be one of those," he said, snapping his fingers and pointing out towards the crowd of onlookers. "One of those so-called I've been summoned to another world deals, right?" he said as an ox cart-like vehicle pulled by a giant lizard-like thing crossed in front of him. Subaru Natsuki was an extremely ordinary boy, born on Earth, the third planet in the solar system, to a middle-class family in the nation of Japan. If you were to sum up his nearly 17 years of life, the previous sentence would be enough to describe him. And if he felt the need to add anything else, the extra sentence, he was a third-year public high school student with a tendency to not show up to class, would be sufficient. Placed at the fork of the road of life, such as whether to pursue a college degree or jump straight into the workforce. People are generally forced to make a decision, one way or the other. That sort of decision making is something everyone has to deal with, and part of what we call life. But in Subaru's case, you might call it his specialty. He was a bit better than your average Joe at running away from things he did not like, and avoiding such a decision. The number of his unexcused absences has piled up, and before he knew it, he was a bona fide truant, the kind of parents weep over. Notice how there's no convenience store scene? That was anime only edition. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what? He's like, bro, what? Bro's not at the convenience store? Bro just woke up there? And on top of it all, and to top it all off, now I've been summoned to a whole different world. I guess that seals the deal. I'm a high school dropout now, but seriously, what the hell is going on? He felt as if he was having a not so well thought out dream, but even after pinching his cheeks and smacking his head against a wall, he wouldn't wake up. Subaru sighed. You will get used to the narrative, or the narrative bullying Subaru. The narration always shits on Subaru. Bro. Okay. He felt as if he was having a not so well thought out dream, but even after pinching his cheek, Subaru sighed. He had drifted away from where he was getting all sorts of curious looks, and he was now sitting against the wall in an alley, just off the main road. Assuming I really have been summoned to a fantasy world, the state of civilization appears to be the usual medieval-like setting. So far, I haven't seen anything mechanical, but the roads are pretty well paved. And of course, I can't use any of my cash. As for whether he could communicate with the people that people here, and regarding the value of goods, those were things that Subaru checked immediately upon realizing he had been summoned to a different world. Fortunately, he had no problem communicating, and he was able to confirm that commerce was handled in a way fuck, bro, what the fuck? Why can't I fucking read? Fortunately, he had no problem communicating, and he was able to confirm that commerce was handled in a currency of gold, silver, and copper. His first contact, a merchant at a fruit stand, wasn't all that welcoming to him though. As for why Subaru was so quick to accept and understand his current situation, the fact that he was a modern Japanese youth poisoned by anime and games, or what? The fact that he was a modern Japanese youth poisoned by anime and games had something to do with it. And for that, he was very thankful. It wouldn't be an overstatement to say that as an adolescent boy, this sort of otherworldly summoning was the kind of thing you'd dream would happen to you. But on that note, without a little bit more of a welfare safety net thing going on, a laid-back guy like myself isn't going to be able to deal, you know? Subaru complained. Given his current situation and pitiful starting equipment, he couldn't help it. So for me, I would literally, rise from the dead. I'll bring myself back to life if I die, because I ain't missing out on anime, bro. I don't want to die without knowing the ending to like a freaking series I love, bro. His belongings consisted of a cell phone, which looked like it would run out of battery soon, a wallet filled with membership cards and various video rental stores. I feel like you could because he has his phone, I feel like he could somehow find a way to recharge it, because electricity may not exist in this world, but something similar, because it's a world full of fucking magic. So I feel like there's a way. I ain't dying till ReZero ends, bro. Yeah. I feel like there's a way you can bring your phone back to life, especially in a fantasy world. Like if you got sent back, you could probably reinvent electricity if you got sent back in time. But I feel like there's a way you can charge your phone in a fantasy world, especially with magic and shit. And they'll kind of be useless, but you can access the camera. I don't know. Just take pictures for no reason. Magic would probably be it then. Yeah, magic would probably be it then. Yeah. But you take pictures for no apparent reason, if you just want to take pictures, because it's all you can really do with a fucking phone without Wi-Fi. And the connection to the internet, I guess. I don't know. Can he still access the internet, even though he doesn't have Wi-Fi, but still, what can he do? I don't know. I don't know what you can do with a phone. Just record and take photos, I guess. I don't know. Okay. A wallet filled with membership cards from various rental stores, a cup of instant ramen he'd bought from a convenience store, a bag of crispy snacks bought from the same store, his favorite gray tracksuit, and well-worn sneakers. That was it. No, he wouldn't be able to reinvent electricity. That shit is tough. Nah, bro. Bro's just an idiot. But yeah, he did go to the convenience store. They just didn't, say he was at a convenience store until here. I don't even get a single Excalibur. I'm done. What am I supposed to? You can hope for when you're summoned to a different world on your way back from the convenience store. It had happened in the blink of an eye. Subaru had already gotten hungry and eaten half of the one thing he had that might have been of any use: his pack of crispy snacks. Before realizing that he had just gone through his only source of food, but worrying about it wasn't going to help him out now. You have ramen, just find, hot water somewhere. I don't fucking know. Even if he'd wanted to put his hopes on the possibility that this was being staged as part of an elaborate reality TV show, the large lizard carts and look of all the people passing by nipped that in the bud. The fact that no one seems to be paying attention to them means that they're probably normal. Both those giant lizards and the half-humans. Subaru grumbled and looked on as people with strange outfits and colorful hair passed by. But out of all of them, the ones who really drove home the fact he had been summoned to another world were the half-humans. Without having to look too long, Subaru could see people with dog ears and cat ears. And there were even some who looked like they were lizard men. But of course, there were also ordinary humans, the same as Subaru. So this is a world with half-humans and probably wars and adventures too. As for whether there are any animals, I'm used to around. What? Animals I'm used to around. I'm so dude. I'm not too sure, but given that lizard cart thing, it looks like they use animals in the same way we do. After putting all that together, Subaru lets out a long breath, but not a sigh. If things unfold the way he had fantasized about before, about otherworldly summoning. Man, I worked 23 hours, man. Getting paid for 23 hours. I've only worked 23 hours. Man, okay. Fantasizing before about otherworldly summonings, he ought to be able to use his knowledge of modern civilization to hold sway over everyone else. But there were a lot of things that still didn't make any sense. The truth is, I have no idea what to do next. And I still have no idea how or why I was summoned. I don't remember stepping into a mirror or falling in a pond. And if I'm to believe this is the otherworldly summoning format I'm used to, where's the beautiful girl who summoned me? The lack of a main heroine in this otherworldly summoning setup was a big hole in the plot. If this were taking place in a 2D world, someone in the creative department was seriously slacking off. Subaru was really summoned for no reason, and then abandoned just like that. It put him on the same level as single-use disposable goods. Now that Subaru has finished establishing the state of his surroundings, he really couldn't think of anything better to do than return it to his default state of escaping from reality. I guess if I kept this up, it's no different from locking myself up in my room back home. The thought of his parents crossed his mind, but right now he wasn't in a position where he could just sit around feeling homesick. Thinking he had to do something about his current situation, he stood back up and turned back towards the main road. But just as Subaru was about to walk out onto the main road, he almost bumped into someone who moved out in front of him. Sorry about that. Subaru gave a short apology and tried to continue past. Hold up! He was grabbed firmly by the shoulder and pulled into the alley, nearly falling over himself as he turned around. Subaru looked up to see that the person who had thrown him back was a man with a large build. This man with a large build? Behind that man were two of his buddies. The three men stood in such a way as to block Subaru from exiting the alley onto the main road. The way they moved, it didn't appear this was the first time these men had done this. And Subaru had a bad feeling about what was going to come next. May I ask what you three fine fellas plan on doing with me? It looks like this one's your smart one. Well, nothing to worry about. Just give a... What was that, bro? Just give a... Bro, I cannot fucking speak. Just give us everything you've got on you.
There's no need for anything, and there's no need for anyone to get hurt.
So that's the deal, huh? Yeah, I guess it would be. This really sucks. The men's gaze were filled with scorn and ridicule. They looked like they were in their 20s, with the meanest of their personalities reflected in their faces and dirty appearances. Sip water, bro. Bro. Yeah, I need to get water. My cat's on my lap, though. I don't want to get up. The men's gazes were filled with scorn and ridicule. They looked like they were in their 20s, with the meanest of their personalities reflected in their faces and dirty appearances. They didn't look like they were half human, but they certainly weren't saints either. You couldn't call it an unusual plot development. Encountering thugs was a way to show the dangers of everyday life in another world. Damn, I've triggered a compulsory event. As he looked at the men smirking, Subaru tried to hold the status quo with a fake smile and considered his options. He was in quite a pinch, but since the beginning of time in stories where humans are summoned to other worlds, those humans tend to be able to wield some kind of superpower. If Subaru had been summoned to this world under the same conditions as the stories he was familiar with, it was very likely that he had been given some sort of power. With that though, Subaru felt that his body was a little lighter than usual. I'm starting to get the feeling that this world's gravity is like only 1/10 of my world's. I can do this. I'm going to mow you all down and make this the first chapter of my glorious future. You're only here so I can pull experience points off of you, you scum.
What the hell is he going on about?
Said one of the men.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's making fun of us. Let's kill him,
replied another. Took the
words right out of my mouth. You're going to regret this.
Oh, no, that's Subaru. Okay. I thought that was one of the guys talking. Never mind. Okay. I took the words right out of my mouth. You're going to regret this. Returned Subaru before flying forward with a straight jab from his right hand, aiming for the big man in front. Subaru's first fist collided with the man's nose, but he also cut his fingers on one of the man's front teeth and started bleeding. Hit someone for the first time in my life. Wow. It's way more than I expected. Subaru was confident in his fighting form, but he had never been in a real fight before. The man who was punched fell to the ground without taking a moment to pause. Subaru leapt at another of the men, caught off guard. As his next target with a clean arc, he landed a kick on the side of the man's head, slamming him into the wall of the alley. This was going even better than he'd expected. And he started to be sure of the notion that he was invincible in this new world. I guess in this world my stats are pretty good. What a rush! Now to finish this. Turning back around, Subaru bent forward to beat down the last man standing, when his eyes centered on what that man was holding in his hand, a glinting knife. Immediately, Subaru dropped to his knees, bent over forward, and with a spectacular single motion, prostrated himself, pressing his forehead against the ground. I'm sorry, that was absolutely terrible of me. I ask that you forgive me and please find it in your generous heart to spare my life. Prostration. It was the most extreme form of showing absolute submission to another, and the lowest form of Japanese humility. Just where did all of that fired up feeling go? Subaru felt as he could hear the blood drain from his body, desperately clinging to any hope of mercy. He tried to make himself seem small and continued to apologize. With a knife involved, fighting was out of the question. No matter how you might train yourself, if you were stabbed, it was all over. All things in life are transient. Before he knew it, the two that Subaru thought he had defeated were back on their feet. One was holding his bleeding nose, and the other was shaking his head back and forth. But other than that, both looked as though they were in surprisingly good condition.
What? You mean to tell me?
Or no, that's this guy. Man, it's so confusing. When you know they start talking, you know, so confusing. What? You mean to tell me that my one-hit knockout punch only did that much damage? What about my superpowers?
I don't know what you're going on about, but shut your trap. You've already done it now. Or you've really done it now.
Bro's winding up his arm. Shit. It looked as though Subaru had been completely wrong about being summoned into another world. Coming with that promise of some kind of powers, he wasn't really any stronger than he had been before. One of the men stepped on the back of Subaru's head, scraping his forehead against the ground and causing him to bleed. Another then kicked him in the face, and Subaru curled into a ball as tightly as he could, as he was subjected to further attacks of violence. After all, the one who hit first was Subaru. If it sounds retarded, it's Subaru. Bro, what? Okay. The man didn't hold back at all. But this really, really hurts. Like, I could die. No, seriously. Unlike in his own world, there was no guarantee that these thugs wouldn't take his life. At this rate, it would be better to try one last-ditch effort to retaliate before he was beaten to death.
Stop moving, you whelp.
Ow, no, don't, ow, ow, ow. The man with the knife stomped on Subaru's head, or hand, as he tried to get up. Then readjusted his grip on the knife so that the tip was held back towards his arm, ready to strike.
After we make sure you can't move, we're going to take everything you've got. That's what you got for acting tough, you punk.
Bro, you should have just given him everything you got. You have literally fucking nothing. You have nothing. Unless you're just gonna take the clothes off your back, then you literally have nothing. A couple of coins that are literally useless in this world. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with that, because I don't think they'll sell for a lot. And ramen. That's all you've got. That's all you've got. Like, you should have just given them your stuff and you wouldn't have gotten your ass kicked. You wouldn't have gotten your ass handed to you, bro. Like seriously. If you're looking for money or valuables, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. After all, you don't have a cent on me. Then those strange-looking clothes and shoes do just fine. You can just stay down and be food for the alley rats. Okay, well, let's take. Then I guess they'll take his clothes. But even then, bro, just. I'm pretty sure you can probably find clothes somewhere. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But, there's probably just a better way of handling this, bro. It's just a better way of handling this than just punching him right off the bat. Oh, so there are rats in this world. Too, Subaru thought. I hope they aren't big, like monster rats or anything. Subaru looked at the knife about to come down, as if it didn't concern distancing himself from reality as best he could. Subaru didn't see his life flash before his eyes, and he didn't feel like time was slowing down either. The end would probably come like the cutting of a thread, he thought. But just then, hey, out of the way! Out of the way! Bro is getting his ass beat to death, and he thinks about the fact that there are rats, bro. Yeah. I'm talking to you, move! Yelled someone in a flustered sounding voice as they dashed into the alley. Like the men who suddenly looked up, Subaru managed to glance up in the direction of the voice, though he couldn't move his body. What he saw was a small girl with longish blonde hair. Dashing by. From her red eyes, you could sense a strong will. and her one canine tooth sticking out made her look like quite a prankster. She seemed more cheeky than anything else. But Subaru felt that she smiled. That if she smiled, she would look pretty cute. As if it had been staged for a comeback, the fading light of hope Subaru had been holding lit anew. He was waiting for this kind of development. The girl, in her well-worn clothes and unclean appearance, had stumbled upon this attempted murder and robbery in the act. What would surely happen next was that, with an overflowing sense of justice, this girl would save Subaru's life right from the clutches of death. Whoa, you look like you're in quite a pinch there. But sorry, I've got my hands full right now. Good luck. Live life to the fullest. Wait, what? Are you serious? Unfortunately, that hope was shattered in an instant. The girl raised her hand in an apologetic sort of gesture, and didn't slow down as she continued racing down the alley. She went right past the men and kept going towards what should have been a dead end. Kicked off against the wooden planks set up against the end wall, grabbed the top of the wall, and lightly flung herself up onto the roof of one of the surrounding buildings, where she disappeared. Subaru really got baited. Yeah. Yo, picture. Look at these guys, bro. Look at these guys, bro. Look at these goofy goobers, bro. You got your ass handed to these guys? You got your ass handed to this guy? Are you serious? Like this guy. This guy right here? You got your ass handed to this guy. And this guy is sticking at dude, man, what is with this expression, dude? What is with this expression? After the girl was gone, a silence fell upon the alley. It was as if a hurricane had just passed. Both Subaru and the men were dumbstruck. However, this didn't mean that Subaru's situation had improved at all. Doesn't what just happened make you angrier? Just sort of melts away and make you want to change your mind about all of this? More like it killed the mood, and now I'm even angrier. Don't think you'll get to die a pleasant death. Okay, I don't know who's talking right now, bro. Bro, look at the skinny guy. Bro's brain is falling from his mouth. Yeah, bro. Yeah. Bro's gooning. Bro's gooning right now. Yeah. Bro's gooning. The men kept their feet planted on Subaru so he couldn't move. As Subaru looked at the glint of the knife in the man's hand, the death that loomed before him seemed ever more real. No, I mean, you gotta be kidding. I can't die like this easily. I can't die this easily, can I? A twitching smile formed on Subaru's face as he looked around desperately for someone to deny the death that was coming his way. However, no such convenient development came. The tip of the knife drew ever closer. A feeling of resignation came over Subaru, and he felt tears welling up in his eyes. It wasn't fear that overwhelmed him. It was more the feeling of emptiness. That this would all end without him accomplishing anything. In the midst of the overwhelming despair, feeling as if he had been abandoned by everyone and everything. Hold it right there, you evildoers! That voice overcame the noise of the crowd. The vulgar insults of the man, Subaru's own heavy breathing, as well as everything else, and shook the very foundations of the world. When people say time stood still, they must surely be talking about times like this. The dwarf looks like he has spent 10 days without sleeping and is living on energy drinks. Bro, shit's crazy. Yo, what if, at the end of ReZero, right at the end of ReZero, Subaru dies. But then comes back at the first ever checkpoint in the game. in the series, bro. I forget, I don't know, like 30 years later, You know, at the end of the novel, he dies, then starts from the very beginning. Talking about times like this, there was a girl standing at the entrance to the alley. She was beautiful. She had long silver hair with braids in it that reached down to her hip. She was looking straight at Subaru with violet eyes that shone with intelligence in her soft features. In her soft features were both elements of youth, but also mature beauty. There was also a noble air about her that gave her a dangerous and bewitching charm. The girl was about 1 head shorter than Subaru, which made her around 5 feet, 3 inches tall. The clothes she wore used white as a base color, but there was nothing terribly ornate about them. But on the other hand, the simplicity emphasized her presence. That's actually a rather popular theory on the community, the loop theory. Yeah, that'd be fucking insane, bro. The one thing that stood out was the white cloak the girl was wearing. It was emblazoned with embroidery that depicted a bird of prey, adding to her impression of majesty. Amelia with intelligence and maturity makes no sense in the same sentence. Yeah. However, it wasn't the clothes she wore that made her shine so. I will not stand by and watch any more of your wrongdoing. That is enough. Her voice, like silver bells, rang beautifully in Subaru's ears, and for a moment he forgot the situation he was in. He was completely undone by the silver-haired girl's presence. The other men seemed to be just as shaken up as Subaru was.
What? What? Who do you think you are?
If you stop right now, I'll let you go. In a way, this is my fault for not being cautious. So do the right thing and give back what she stole.
Hey. What she's wearing looks expensive. You think she's nobility? Wait, huh? What we stole?
Please, it is very precious to me. I'd be willing to give it up if it were anything else, but I absolutely can't in this case. Please, I won't do anything to you, so please just I'll give it back. Those guys are like the most mob enemies ever.
Yeah.
The girl looked as if she was pleading with all her heart. However, there was an inexplicable feeling of pressure that rose within the group. Something was happening that was hard to explain.
Wait a minute. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
The men pointed at Subaru, still underfoot.
You didn't come here to rescue this guy, did you?
Those are some weird clothes that boy is wearing. Did you all have a fight amongst yourselves? I don't think 3 against 1 is really fair, but if you're asking me if I know that person, I haven't ever seen him before in my life. Perhaps it was because she thought the men were trying to change the subject, but you could hear an amount of irritation in her voice because of that. Each of the men rushed to explain themselves.
Wait a second. If you're not after this guy, then we're not involved. I bet it was that girl from before. You said you had something stolen from you, right? That wall. You see that
wall? You see that wall? She jumped off that wall and ran away to the rooftops.
She's farther back past the wall.
At the rate she was going, she's probably another 3 streets down. As the men continued to plead their innocence, the girl turned her eyes to Subaru, as if asking whether these men were telling the truth. Without thinking, Subaru nodded. It doesn't look like you're lying. So the one who stole from me is down further ahead. I've got to hurry. The girl turned away from Subaru and the men, and towards the main road. The men clearly looked relieved. Subaru faced with a reality of his abandonment started to enter a state of shock when
Still, the situation is one I just can't ignore. As she turned back around, the girl put her hand up, palm facing outwards, and a series of shining lights beamed to dance in front of it. A dull thud rang out, like that of a hard object striking flesh, followed by the cries of the men as they were thrown backward. Then there was a high-pitched sound as a fist-sized clump of ice fell to the ground right beside Subaru. The clump of ice, which seemed to have formed heedless of both the season and the laws of physics, quickly evaporated as if it were being eaten by the surrounding air. Magic? The best word to describe what just happened. It immediately tumbled out of Subaru's mouth. There wasn't any incantation or anything, but that chunk of ice had definitely shot out of the girl's palm. Magic? Having seen it with his very own eyes for the first time, Subaru realized something. It isn't quite as fantasy-like as I imagined. To be honest, this is kind of a letdown. Subaru had imagined there would be more light and energy being bounced around. In reality, all that happened was an unrefined-looking clump of ice suddenly materialized. Was used as a blunt object for physical damage, and then suddenly disappeared. There was no feeling or anything put into it at all. Now you've done it! Subaru's feelings on magic aside, the other men who had taken a real hit from those clump of ice got back to their feet. To be fair, it was only 2 of them who managed to get back up. The remaining man must have gotten hit on a bad spot because he was still knocked out. But rather than this fact taking the fight out of them, it seemed to just make the other 2 men even angrier. Standing next to the men with the knife, the other drew out a blunt club-like object, and both were ready to fight. I don't care if you're a magic user or nobility, or whatever. I've had enough. We're going to kill you. Are we reading all the books? Yeah, I'm going to be reading all the books. I'm not reading them all now, because that's going to take way too long. I might not be able to get to the first book today, but I want to read at least like most of it, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna start reading all the books because I have not read them, and then I'm gonna also read all the side stories as well. What was it? We're gonna kill you. Do you really think you can win a 2-on-1 fight? Yelled the man with the knife, holding down his face, blood still dripping from his nose. He's gonna read all that he can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the one that's speaking is a little short guy with the bowl cut, but I just gave him a deep ass voice. I'm pretty sure he's the one that's holding the knife, but I don't know. In response to his threats, the girl closes one of her eyes. You're right. 1 against 2 sounds like it could be a little tough. In that case, would 2-on-1 be a bit more fair? As if it were finishing the girl's sentence, a new higher-pitched, genderless voice entered the fray. A startled Subaru looked around. The other men also followed suit, but there wasn't anyone inside or at the entrance of the alley who looked as though they were the owner of that voice. Then, as if to show Subaru and the other men the answer to their voice, the girl extended her left hand, sitting on top of her palm and white fingers. There it was. When you all stare at me like that, full of expectation, it's kind of embarrassing. Using its paw to clean its face with a small, palm-sized cat that stood upright on its 2 hind legs. Had gray hair and floppy ears. To best of Subaru's knowledge, it was nearly to an American short hair. That is, if you ignore the fact that its nose was pink and it had a tail about the length of its body. Seeing the small palm-sized cat, the man with the knife seemed overcome with fear and yelled, You're a spirit mage? That's right. If you want to leave right now, I won't chase after you, but make up your minds quick. I'm in a hurry. With that, the men rush to pick up their fallen companion and leave the alley. But as they passed the girl on their way out, one of the men clicked his tongue and said, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember your face, you bitch. The next time we see you, it won't go this well for you. Wow. The one holding the knife is the skinny, blue-haired, Hego face motherfucker. Man. Yo, Emilia! It's Emilia! If you do anything to her, I'll cause you and all of your offspring, what? I'll curse you and all of your offspring, you know. Though, in that case, he won't be having any. For the thug, that must have been his best attempt at intimidation. But in contrast, the cat's response was light in tone, but much more severe. The cat didn't seem to be completely serious, but the men paled more than they ever had before, and ran out into the main road without another word. Once the thugs were gone, Subaru was left alone in the alley, with the girl and her cat, thinking that he at least needed to say thanks. Subaru forgot his pain and started to get to his feet, but... Don't move! Said the girl in a cold, emotionless voice. You could see in her eyes that she was being cautious. Even though she realized that Subaru was not the other thugs, she wasn't about to let her guard down. That much was clear. It was actually Subaru's reaction that was more out of place. Even though the girl was looking at him like that, he was fixed on her beautiful and bewitching violet eyes. Not used to seeing such beauty, Subaru unthinkingly blushed and looked away. See? I knew I was onto something, if he had nothing to hide. Okay. See? I knew I was onto something. If he had nothing to hide, he wouldn't look away like that, said the girl. Hold up. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a glass of water. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Where was I? Okay. I'm not so sure about that. That seems like a very natural reaction for a boy like him. I'm sensing zero evil intention, responded the cat. I don't know what voice to give Puck, bro. I don't know what type of voice to give Puck. Be quiet, Puck. You know the girl who stole my badge, don't you? Shushing her cat, the girl turned to Subaru. Her expression full of confidence was lovely, however. I'm sorry to let you down like this, but I totally don't know her. Like, completely, not at all. Wait,
What? Seriously?
As her confidence was stripped from her face, Subaru was able to get a glimpse of how she naturally expressed herself. As opposed to her ongoing act, with that dignified air of hers. Out of the window, the girl flustered, turned quickly to the cat, still resting on her palm.
What are we going to do? Was this really all just a waste of my time? A waste? That's still in progress. I really think you should hurry. She was really fast
Wait, is this Subaru or is this the cat? Okay, yeah, okay. It's Puck speaking. Give him a squeaky voice.
A waste? That's still in progress.
Like that? I don't know.
A waste? That's still in progress.
Bro, okay, I'm gonna try that.
A waste? That's still in progress. I really think you should hurry. She was really fast when she ran away.
Dude, I don't know what the fuck this was, dude. I don't know what the fuck. I'm just gonna...
So there's a good chance the culprit has some kind of strange protection on her side. How can you be so unconcerned about all of this, Puck? You're the one who told me not to get too involved, you know. Anyway, what are we going to do about him?
The cat said, as if just remembering about Subaru. Okay. What was I? As the topic of conversation centered back on him, Subaru put on a weak smile. You sound like you have a glass filled up your ass and you're trying to use a falsetto to make it vibrate, bro. What? Bro, what? As the topic of conversation. Oh, said the girl as she finally realized the cat was talking about Subaru. In response, Subaru put on an empty display of confidence and replied, "Don't worry about me. Thanks to your help, we'll be fine. You're in a hurry, right? You should go." Subaru had hoped to finish this off with, "If you'd like, I don't even mind. I don't even mind helping you out. How about it, milady?" While brushing his hair back and flashing a smile. But, huh? Suddenly dizzy, Subaru reached for the wall but missed and fell face first into the ground.
Wait, you shouldn't try to stand up just yet. Well, okay.
Came the cat's roaring just a step too late. After falling with zero capacity to catch himself, Subaru felt a sharp pain as his consciousness went winging away. So what should we do? He has nothing to do with us. There's not enough to kill him. We're going to leave him. In the far reaches of his consciousness, as it left him, Subaru could hear just a little of the pair's conversation. That's an otherworldly fantasy for you. Everyone has quite the severe view on the concept of empathy. Am I just going to be abandoned here in this alley? Was the negative talk? Well, I suppose I was going to die, and now I'm not. So I should be super grateful with a more positive thought. With those two views in mind, Subaru's consciousness drifted further and further and further and further away. Are you sure? I'm sure. Right before the thread of Subaru's consciousness was cut for good, he was able to see the silver-haired girl, red in the face, turn around and shout, "There's no way! No way I'm going to save him! Okay? 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 Okay?" Man. Selfish bitch. Not going to save. Man. Even when she's angry, she's really cute. Go otherworldly fantasies. With that last thought, really this time, once and for all, Subaru's consciousness fell into darkness. It occurred to Subaru that the feeling of waking up was... The fuck? I mean, the fuck. What do you mean, the fuck? Isn't it a point that Amelia doesn't know the word okay? I don't know. Similar to having your face rise up from out of the body of water. When he opened his eyes, the sun's light was at an angle and shone into them, causing him to squint at the brightness and rub his eyes. He woke up in a rather pleasant way, and Subaru was the type of person to be fully awakened once he opened his eyes.
Oh, you're awake,
said a voice from right above Subaru's head, with him still lying down. As Subaru turned to look in the direction of the voice, he realized that he was still lying on the ground, but had his head on something soft that was being used as a pillow.
You shouldn't move. You shouldn't move. You hit your head, so I can't say whether it's safe to just yet.
This concerned voice also sounded very kind. As Subaru remembered what happened just before he lost his consciousness, he thought, given the circumstances, he might just be in one of those blessed situations one hopes to be in as a boy. So have one's head in a girl's lap. Responding to this divine revelation, Subaru pretended to turn to readjust so he could enjoy himself to the fullest. With a circular motion, he rubbed his cheek against it and reached a feeling of absolute bliss, and far more than he expected. He felt a fluffiness from the softness of the hair. Wow, beautiful girls are a lot hairier than I imagined.
Hey, wait a minute!
Sputtered Subaru as he faced up, this time with his vision fully recovered, and took in what was happening. Right in front of Subaru, in his upside-down vision, was the face of a giant cat.
I thought that at least until you woke up, I'd make you feel comfortable. You can thank me later.
Oh fuck. I need to zoom in. Like that. Okay. Not that much. First of all, I'd like you to stop with that terrible falsetto voice. There's no way I'd mistake a cat for the heroine. Subaru had certainly never been in a situation before where he got to use a human-sized cat's lap for a pillow, and, well, it wasn't like you get to experience this every day, so he decided to make the best of it. Isn't no one knows it because it's from Earth. They learn it from Subaru as a Subarism. Bro, what? Shit's insane. Well, it wasn't like you get to experience this every day, so he decided to make the best of it. Wow, this is actually really comfortable. Like, this is amazing. I understand why people want to love their cats till they go bald.
Well, if you're going to be this happy about it, I guess it was really worth supersizing, don't you think so too?
The cat scratches at his face, as if it were embarrassed, and winked as if seeing a confirmation. At the end of that glance was a silver-haired girl standing at the entrance to the alley, looking unfazed. Man, I remember Puck being an asshole a lot of the time. I feel like, I don't know, just an asshole towards Subaru. Like, at the beginning, Puck is like nicer than freaking Amelia, bro. Cause like, I'm pretty sure Puck was the one that wanted to save Subaru. Amelia was like, no, I want to get out of here. And so yeah. Where was I? It was the same girl from before. If Subaru was to believe his memories, eyes, and heart, which were all deeply branded by her image right before he lost consciousness.
I'm sorry about all of this.
Oh no, this is me. I'm sorry about all of this. It looks like you ended up staying here with me until I woke up, and...
Don't get any ideas about this. The only reason I stayed is because I still have some questions to ask you. If it weren't for that, I would have left you behind. I mean it. So don't get any ideas.
Amelia was a tsundere. She wanted to help him but was flustered. She was colder in the web novel. Damn, bro.
Pressing the point, the girl put strong emphasis on her words. This was a level of girl power that Subaru, who had no resistance against such beautiful girls, simply could not stand against. It was so strong that Subaru could do nothing but nod, ignoring the content of whatever she was saying. The reason why I healed your wounds, and the reason I had Puck serve as a pillow until you woke up, all of that was for me, so I'm going to have you make it up to me, okay?
In the web novel, she appeared more mature, smarter, and knew about sex. Damn, bro. Bro, imagine. Imagine, bro. Imagine knowing about sex.
I know you're trying to build this up and everything, but if you just have something to ask, go right ahead, said Subaru. It looks like she was one of those people who took the saying, helping others isn't just for their sake, to heart. The girl looked sternly at Subaru and shook her head. I'm not asking, I'm commanding. You know something about my stolen badge, don't you? Asked the girl, dropping the tone of her voice. However, as this wasn't any different from what she had asked before, Subaru had to tilt his head in confusion. They had gone through this once already, right before Subaru had passed. Bro. Dude, I can't wait, bro. Gotta do that, one guy, I gotta do a zesty voice, bro. She actually said that Subaru could do dirty things to her as a way to pay for her life. Bro, what? Bro, I can't wait to do that zesty voice, bro. No. Where the fuck was I again? They had gone through once already, right before Subaru had passed out. She kept calling the thing a badge. Subaru thought. So, is it something like what police and detectives kept on themselves to prove what they are? I haven't seen anything like that. You didn't hit your head real hard or anything while I was passed out, did you? Subaru asked. You were only out for about 10 minutes, and no, nothing like that happened. Answer the question. Well, if that's the case, I've got to say I really don't know. You can't do anything about what you don't know. Subaru's answer was no different from before. However, the girl didn't look particularly crestfallen, but instead nodded. Well, if you don't know, you don't know. But the fact that you know absolutely nothing itself is information you have proven to me, and enough for me to justify healing you, the girl replied, using a twisted enough logic to baffle any swindler. To describe her complete loss, as Subaru looked on dumbfounded, the girl clapped her hands together as if to finish things. Well, I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to get going now. Your wounds should be all healed, and I threatened those other guys so much I doubt they'll go near you again. But it's still dangerous to enter an alley like this all alone. Oh, and I'm not saying this because I'm worried about you. This is a warning. If I see you in a similar situation again, there won't be any merit to me saving you. And if you can't expect me to do so again, so you can't expect me to do so again, said the girl with machine gun rapidity. Damn. She took Subaru's silence as affirmation, nodded to herself, and turned around to leave. The girl's long silver hair swayed as she moved and sparkled fantastically in the dim light of the alley. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. She's not really honest with herself. Don't think too strangely of her, okay? Said the cat with a laugh as having returned to its original size.
it jumped up onto the girl's shoulder. The girl patted its back as if to affirm its touch, and the cat disappeared, slipping behind the curtain of her hair, without once looking back. The girl continued to walk on. As he watched her go, Subaru thought about what the cat had said, about her not being honest with herself and her intentions. She had something stolen from her, and even though she was in a hurry to get it back, she saved Subaru. Then, after Subaru has passed out, she healed him, and when he woke up, she used terrible reasoning to try to show him that she wasn't worse off for doing so. She's not really honest with herself. Was not going far enough. Her efforts were coming up negative in everything, and was hard to watch. The girl had every right to blame Subaru for getting in her way, but she hadn't complained even once, and she didn't even look for an apology. That's because of her. The only reason she saved Subaru was for her own end. If you live like that, you're just going to keep losing until there's nothing left, said Subaru as he got up, patted his dust and dirt-covered tracksuit, and started running. Sure, his beloved tracksuit was in pretty bad shape, but on the inside, almost all of his pain was gone. That's after being kicked and punched as much as he was. Again, Subaru was reminded of the otherworldliness of magic, as well as the generosity of that girl who, despite going on and on about having Subaru pay her back, took nothing from him in return. Tsundere. Yeah. It's been forever since I've actually, seen the beginning of ReZero. Yeah, it's been forever. I watched it a long time ago. Back when there's, only one season. And back when, I think around the time it came out. Maybe like a year or so after the anime came out, but I'm not sure. But yeah. That's when I watched the first season, I think. But I was gonna say something. Crap. I was gonna say something. But yeah. Crazy how Subaru, does not change. He doesn't get any new clothes until fucking season 4. Like, bro. Like, dude. Just, you're in another world. I'm pretty sure you can afford new clothes. Like why? Even freaking Kazuma changed his tracksuit. But also, I'm pretty sure Kazuma's tracksuit got destroyed, so he couldn't even wear it anymore. Due to the sheer amount of times I've read WADAA. Damn. I know the sort of ReZero very well. Yeah, well, I don't, 'cause I think I've only ever seen the anime once. I've only seen each season once. I don't even remember anything from season 2 either. I only remember most of season 3 because it just came out like this year. So I watched it. I don't even remember anything from the first 2 seasons all that much. I know, what happens to Rem in the second season. I know a little bit of stuff from the first season, but I don't remember anything from the beginning. Hey, wait! Subaru called out to the girl just as she had reached the entrance to the alley and was in front of the main road, looking unsure of where to go next. The girl torched her silver hair and looked a bit troubled. As she turned around, what is it? I'm going to tell you right now, I only have a bit more time to spend dealing with you. So a little's fine then. Anyway, what you lost is really important, right? Let me help you look for it. The girl blinked a few times, surprised. But you said you don't know anything. It's true that I don't know the name of the girl who stole the badge from you, or where she's from, but at least I know what she looks like. She's got blonde hair. It's sort of like a kitten, and she has this canine tooth that sticks out that's hard to miss. She's shorter than you, and her chest is pretty flat, so she's maybe 2 or 3 years younger than you. How about that? When you got flustered, Subaru had a bad habit of speaking fast and not really knowing what he was saying. Right now, that bad habit was running at full blast, and even Subaru wanted to distance himself from his own words. The ensuing silence was painful. A cold sweat drenched Subaru's back, not to mention his hands and armpits, which had followed by heart palpitations, a shortness of breath, as well as dizziness. And in addition to feeling faint, his nose stuffed up in an allergic reaction accompanied by a migraine. Migraine, what? Or was it? Migraine. Such that there were problems on every front. However, "You're strange," the girl said with a hand up to her mouth, tilting her head to the side as if she were looking at some rare animal. With the finger still at her lips, she stared at Subaru, sizing him up. What was that? Dude, I know the Soda Resort very well. Subaru has used butler and night outfits as well. He also has only used his black t-shirt, but yeah, his wardrobe is very aesthetic. Arc 6 is the start of him using a lot more variety. Bro really did felt dirty. Bro really dying from talking to women. Yeah. I should say up front that, or I should say up front that I can't offer you anything in return for your help. I might not look it, but I don't have a copper piece on me. Don't worry, that makes two of us, replied Subaru. Three of us, if you count me. Pretty terrible for us as a group, added a voice jokingly from the girl's silver hair. But Subaru ignoring it and pounded his chest. I don't need anything in thanks. I'm the one who should thank you. That's why I want to help. I haven't done anything deserving of your thanks. I've already gotten something in return from healing you. She just won't give up, will she? Subaru looked at the girl and her stubborn attitude with a weak smile. If that's the case, then I'll help you for my own sake. The reason is, yeah, that's it. I'll use you for my one good deed a day project, said Subaru. One good deed a day? That's right. Once a day, you do one good thing. If you do that after you die, you've got a one-way ticket to heaven. If I can do it, then a wonderful life of just eating and sleeping is waiting for me. So I hear. So that's why I'm going to help you for my own sake. Subaru felt like turning to himself and asking what the hell he was going on about. But at least he'd managed to make his point. The girl stood in thought, considering Subaru's words, when her cat poked at her cheek with its paw. I don't sense any evil intentions from him. And I don't really think it's a bad idea, you know? With how large the capital is, it's way better than going on no clues at all. But if I get him involved... You're cute when you're stubborn, but it's foolish to let your stubbornness get the best of you and make you lose sight of your goal. I'd really rather not think of my own master as a fool, the cat added, its support in favor of Subaru. But the girl was still hesitant. In response, the cat dropped its expression and continued in a serious voice. Plus, the sun is starting to set. It's night falls. I won't be able to help you. I'm not worried about you handling a thug or two, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Well, it sounds like you're the one to call if there's danger. But wait, according to what you said, you can't come out at night. What? This is Subaru talking. Yeah, okay. Well, it sounds like you're the one to call if there's danger. But wait, according to what you said, you can't come out at night? Is that one of the deals of your contract or something? Subaru asked, taking a step closer. The cat flicked its whiskers with its front paw and said, It's more like I may look cute,
but I'm a spirit, you know. I use a lot of mana just by materializing when night falls. I return to the crystal that is my vessel and prepare for when the sun is out again. I suppose you could say it's the perfect 9 to 5 job.
9 to 5? That sounds like a government job. The conditions to hire a spirit sounds more severe than I expected. Subaru was able to talk naturally about spirits, but that was only because of the analytical power he had as a modern otaku, poisoned by anime and games. Even traits looked down on the public come in handy sometimes. While Subaru and the cat continued their conversation, the girl continued to anguish over her decision. However, the last point seemed to have tipped the scales. So after much moaning, with a number of buts and stills and ifs, she finally conceded. I'm telling you, I really can't give you anything in return, okay? After Subaru's first friendly interaction in this different world, a pleasant, heartwarming episode, 1 hour had passed.
Bro would have already died by now, bro.
Like, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, wasn't he supposed to die? I don't know, it's been so long since I've seen it. But, like, I don't remember him ever helping Emilia before he died. But I don't know. Because I somewhat remember him, like, dying and then getting a feel for it after he meets Emilia, but then he gets restarted from the beginning and then runs into Emilia again, and then and then I think Emilia tries to kill him. I don't fucking remember. I don't know.
What is the meaning of this?
The investigation has stalled. As Subaru faced the girl's cold stare, he scrunched at his face, trying to find a way out. Even with all of my experience, I never thought that it would be this difficult. You seem to have a really high opinion of yourself, but I haven't seen anything from you to prove it. No matter how you slice it, things aren't going well. Nobody says no matter how you slice it anymore. Pointing that out only made things worse, and the girl's stare grew sharper, at which Subaru shrank away. Even though they had been searching for a little under an hour, for some reason Subaru and the girl were back in an alley, of course. There was a really good reason for this. There were several factors Subaru had discovered that made their search difficult. First, Subaru didn't know his way around town. Given that he had just been summoned from another world, it was hard to blame him for wanting to pass on this one. Additionally, it seems that the girl was unfamiliar with the area as well, and at least 10 minutes were wasted with both having full confidence that the other knew their way around. It was pretty funny, actually, or so Subaru thought. But the way the girl was staring at Subaru, she didn't seem to find it funny at all. Second, the characters and symbols written here and there were completely illegible to Subaru. Given that Subaru didn't have any trouble communicating by speech, he had thought all that much about it. But after a second look, he saw that all around here and there were handwritten symbols. Unless they were all some kind of mystic charms to protect against evil magic, that tended to be popular. Those symbols were probably letters for the common language, and because he couldn't understand them, he couldn't even read the road signs. Oh man, okay, let me drink some more water. In other words, while a miracle common in most otherworldly summoning works of fiction is, for some reason, our words and writings are mutually understood. In Subaru's case, only half of that came true. But given that
Subaru hadn't been able to communicate through words, he would have been as good as dead. It was hard to call his situation unlucky. Still, why do you have to raise the difficulty like that on me? The world's not kind at all. Rather than exhausting all opinions, it was more of a case of finding a series of critical problems before you even get started. Man, I want to write an isekai. I tried writing isekai, but like I just don't know what type of genre of isekai to write. I tried writing like just like a generic romance isekai somewhat. That kind of was just some guy going to another world and then meeting a girl and then just having a family, and that's all there is. I didn't really think of any like conflicts and stuff like that, so I don't know what type of story I would write. You know? While despairing at making absolutely no progress over the past hour, Subaru noticed that his companions, that girl was standing up by the wall of the alley, with her eyes closed, paying absolutely no mind to him. Seeing her lips move as she muttered something a few times, he tilted his head in confusion. Wonder what she's doing. Oh, that? She's communicating with lesser spirits. Subaru raised his eyebrows in surprise as the girl's gray cat suddenly reappeared right in front of his eyes. I thought that I hadn't seen you in a while, but you hadn't gone home or anything. You were here the whole time?
There's still a bit of time left before I have to go. Unlike these minor spirits she's talking to, I take my job seriously.
Well, that's quite honorable of you, but what are these lesser spirits again? Going by the name, I suppose they're a rank down from regular spirits, Subaru thought. As if agreeing to Subaru's musing, the cat floating in midair waved its long tail back and forth. Lesser spirits are beings that, in a state prior to becoming real spirits, start to develop some knowledge. If over time they gain power and self-awareness, they'll become spirits like me. Make it a smut? I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know what the fuck that is. I also, like, I don't know how, like... I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like if I were to write something, I would... Funny, I don't know. But I feel like if I were to write something, I would include a sex scene if it calls for it. Like cause I was writing a mystery before, and that one was just a mystery, so it wouldn't really happen. But I would want to write something like romance-y, but I don't want to write hentai, I guess. I don't fucking know. So it wouldn't be like a main focus. I don't know. In other words, while a miracle common in most otherworldly summoning works of fiction is, for some reason, our words and writings are mutually understood. In Subaru's case, only half of that came true. But given that if Subaru hadn't been able to communicate through words, he would have been as good as dead. It was hard to call his situation unlucky. Still, why do you have to raise the difficulty like that on me? I already read all that, right? There's still a bit of time left for... Yeah, I'm on this page. As he nodded, listening to the cat's explanation, Subaru noticed that the area around the girl began to glow. The silver-haired girl was surrounded by faint lights that looked as though they were fireflies. It was the kind of scene that most people would subconsciously hesitate to interfere with. It was like holy ground, whereby the influence of the supernatural only what was sanctified was allowed to be. In response to the scenes, Subaru, wow, it's so cool. Are all of these glowing things spirits? Intruded on it without a second thought, breaking the fantasy of it all as he started talking to the girl.
As the girl cried out in surprise, you could see droplets of tears that formed in reaction, sparkling in her eyes. Then the girl's flustered state spread to the lights around her, and
Oh, look at that. They're panicking.
the many lights started to flee this way and that way before finally scattering and disappearing into the air. Both Subaru and the girl opened their mouths, dumbstruck, searching for where the lesser spirits had gone. Quickly, the girl tried to continue what she had been doing, but it didn't appear the lesser spirits were heeding her call anymore.
Just look at what you did. They're gone. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about this?
I'm sorry. It was my first time seeing spirits like that, and I got a little excited. I mean, it didn't look like they were dangerous or anything.
It's only safe because I had them under control.
If you had done that, an inexperienced spirit mage, if you had done that to an inexperienced spirit mage, it would have had been awful in the worst case. The spirits could have gone berserk and bam! Man, 44 pages? I'm on page 45, bro. I'm on page 45 and still in chapter 1. Bam! The girl was trying to admonish Subaru for not taking his action seriously, but using the word bam wasn't exactly helpful. Oh, come on, there's no way those little sparkly things could be dangerous. Do you really expect me to believe that?
Well, to put it one way,
Puck said.
it may look pretty cute, but it would only take 2 seconds for me to turn you into a pile of dust.
Damn, spirits are scary. A shiver went down Subaru's spine in response to the cat's peaceful-sounding death threat. And he looked back at the girl. I definitely hope you don't happen to be so upset. You said that cat on me or anything.
I would never use Puck for something like that. If I were going to be violent with you, I'd handle it myself. It really looks like they aren't going to answer me anymore.
Failing to establish a second contact with the lesser spirits, the girl, depressed, shook her head powerlessly. I suppose it's not helpful to ask this after the spirits have already gone, but what is it exactly that you were trying to do?
I was trying to see if I could get any information from them about what I'm looking for. They disappeared before I was able to ask, though.
What, really? Subaru was struck speechless by the gravity of his mistake. Seeing that the girl jumped in,
but it did take some time. The lesser spirits don't have the kind of clear awareness that regular spirits have, so I wasn't really expecting much, but... Okay, I'm sorry, it's a lie.
The girl's hesitancy to lie was in conflict with her desire for a positive outlook. So while she tried, she was unable to soften the blow. In fact, her struggle with herself only highlighted to Subaru his own stupidity. At this rate, he wasn't going to be able to do anything but slow her down. This was a scene cut from the anime, by the way. Was it? I don't know, because I feel like I remember the lesser spirit part. I'm pretty sure she was summoning the lesser spirits in the anime, though. Well, I know she does it at some point in the anime. They might have cut it from here, but I don't know. I know she does it at some point in the anime where she summons the lesser spirits, but I feel like the part where Subaru interrupts her was a thing in the anime, though. Like Subaru interrupts her and then the lesser spirits run away. But I don't know. This is bad, both considering the debt I owe and the fact that she's my one precious connection in this world. I'm gonna do my best to cling to this relationship and not let go. From the look on your face, it looks like you're up to no good. But did you think of something? In front of Subaru, who had found a questionable new sense of determination, the girl hesitated
The girl hesitated. Subaru tilted his head and stared at her for a while as she furrowed her brow at but it was the cat that came back to her rescue. This was on an alleyway. The anime was on the bridge in the slums, and Subaru doesn't interrupt her since he learned his lesson. I see. I don't know.
Now that I think of it, we haven't told each other our names yet, have we? Should we introduce ourselves?
Oh, right. Well, then I guess I'll go ahead and go first. In an overly energetic fashion, in part to help cover up for his previous mistake, Subaru struck a pose and pointed to the heavens. My name is Subaru Natsuki, the ignorant and unintelligent, forever and everlasting penniless. Nice to meet you.
Well, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, does it? Anyway, I'm Puck. Nice to meet you too.
As Subaru put out his hand, Puck leapt into it with his whole body for a handshake. An onlooker would probably think Subaru was trying to squeeze the cat to death. The girl blinked in surprise at Subaru's bold interaction. It's weird to see someone who's willing to approach a spirit so easily. And your name is just as unusual. With black hair and dark eyes like that, just where did you come from? I was waiting for you to ask that question. Given this trope, I'll have to say I come from a small country to the east. This is a pattern that has often come up in otherworldly fiction since times long past. A character will state that they come from a hidden country to the east called something like Zipeng. There tends to not be that much interaction between countries. So if you say you've traveled to where you are from that country, it will make sense to most people. It's a magically convenient cliche. If you look at a map of the continent, Lugunica is the country farthest to the east, so there's no country to the east of here. What? Are you serious? We're at the ends of the east? So does this make this country my long yearned for Zipeng? Pretty sure there could be something farther to the east, you know? How would you know? Yeah, there's a map, you know, but like, it's not like there's just like the end of the world, you know? You're maybe the farthest to the east, but you know, it's not like you're at the edge of the world. You know, there could be something farther towards the east that you don't know of. So you don't know where you are, you don't have any money, you can't read, and you have no one you can count on. I'm starting to think you're worse off than I am. While Subaru was shocked at this new development, the girl was also starting to look anxious. With every action she took, you could see the element of her personality that made her want to help others. She probably couldn't help but be concerned with Subaru, who in her was looking more and more to be not only defenseless but absolutely helpless. The girl looked at Subaru again carefully from the top down. Taking another look at you, you actually look like you're in pretty good shape. Subaru? Huh? Oh, yep, Subaru. That's my name. Having his name called in such a hesitant way for some reason felt like a fresh new experience to Subaru, and he couldn't help but stumble in his response. After clearing his throat to hide the fact that he was shaken up, he showed his biceps. I do strength training every day since I'm almost always cooped up in my room. I've got to do at least that much to stay in shape. I don't really get what you mean. Oh, god damn it. Zoom in. I don't really get what you mean by cooped up in your room, but you're from a high-ranking family, aren't you? Weren't you taught some sort of martial art? I'm actually from an extremely ordinary middle class family. But what makes you think I'm from a high class family? Do I exude some refined air of nobility?
Well, you do have a bit of a curious air to you, at least.
Subaru jokingly raised his hands as if to acknowledge the flattery. But then the girl suddenly grabbed those hands, and Subaru, taken aback by the suddenness of her touch, had to hold back a squeak from rising out of his throat. It's also these fingers of yours, but your skin and hair are part of it as well. These aren't the hands of a commoner, and your muscles don't look like the product of hard labor. Actually, the world is flat and it cuts off at the edges. Ligancia is at one of the corners of the world, and this is a stupid ass world. The only thing more eastern than Ligancia is the Agris sand dunes, which is where Satella lives. Okay. Subaru blushes as the girl continues to poke at his hands, but understood. He was also impressed by her ability to see that he was not just simply a foreigner in a foreign land. As Subaru stood in wonderment, the girl continued.
Black hair and dark eyes. I heard that is a common trait of the refugees from the south, but the fact that you are here in Lugunica with those traits mean that you are able to live a life of luxury. Also, the craftsmanship of these strange clothes of yours is magnificent. So have I got it right? As Subaru grew quiet, the girl put on a proud smile, feeling admittedly drawn by the bewitching atmosphere she had made fitting of her beautiful smile. Subaru proceeds the contents of what she just said and made a reluctant face. If you're asking me whether you're wrong or you are right, you're absolutely wrong. But is there any way I can say it so you won't get hurt? If I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong. If you don't, it's just going to be more embarrassing for me. The girl blushed as her earlier confidence transformed into embarrassment. As Subaru watched her go silent, he thought about how he was going to explain where he came from. God, I have not spoken as much in a while. He could just say, I'm a loser who was summoned from another world. But given the precedents set by fantasy fiction about other worlds, that would open the gates for him to be labeled as someone who is wrong in the head. Looking back on the results of what he had said so far, he felt there was a significant risk in telling the truth. You don't have to think that hard about it, you know. If it's something you can't talk about, I won't question you any further. Seeing Subaru struggling with what to say, the girl came to her own conclusion and didn't press him. Given that she had come to his rescue yet again in a way, Subaru grimaces, feeling all the more useless. But really, this isn't looking very good, the girl muttered in a weaker tone, a clouded expression on her face. Seeing that the girl could no longer hide how hopeless she felt, Subaru felt a faint flame light up inside himself. What am I, an idiot? Well, yeah, I'm an idiot. What have I been doing all this time? Right in front of Subaru stood the girl who saved his life. Hadn't he offered to help her out so that he could repay her? If that was the case, then how was he supposed to explain this total lack of support? Subaru? Seeing Subaru fall silent and looking troubled all of a sudden, the girl tilted her head and looked at him puzzled.
Watching as with the motion, her silver hair tumbled down off her shoulders. Subaru thought as hard as he could. Subaru tried to remember what had happened when the thief ran through that alley. As those thugs were stomping on him, focusing on that instant time, he needed to find something, anything that he could use. I have a few things that I want to check with you. Is that okay?
Okay. Go right ahead.
Thanks. I'm pretty sure I heard you mention it a few times, but this is the capital of whatever country we're in, right? So basically, it's the town that has the king's castle in it, and it's a really big place. Is that correct? Subaru asked, remembering bits of the conversation that he had had with the girl before. While Subaru realized that his question must have sounded strange, the girl didn't interrupt and simply nodded a yes. So, in this big city, there's a girl who appeared to be making her living stealing things. By the looks of her clothes, she definitely doesn't seem to be that well off. Now, it's maybe obvious, but there's got to be a place where people like that live. Is there a place where crime is rampant or something, like a slum in the area? I'm sure it's hard to exchange stolen goods for money without some connection, so I think there's a good chance she would have to go back to a place like that. With the image of the thief burned in his memory, Subaru analyzed her from head to toe and used all of the knowledge he had about fantasy settings to help form his hypothesis. So I think rather than searching around aimlessly, we have a better chance if we aim for that, but what's wrong?
I was just surprised. You really do have a good head on your shoulders.
Well, rather than a logical conclusion, it's more than it's a common theme in medieval fantasy, but if this is all that it takes for you to start thinking better of me, I have a feeling that I've got a long way to go. Despite Subaru's response, he seems to be taking the girl's praise rather well. While Subaru scratches at the side of his head to try to keep from showing how embarrassed he was, the girl nodded several times. We'll go with your plan. Let's go back out the main road and ask some people if they know a place that's like what you described. We're already really behind as it is. After all, let's hurry up and get going. After Subaru and the girl looked at each other and nodded, they headed out of the alley and towards the main road. However, right before they could start their search for a spot where a lot of people who they could question were passing by, Subaru remembered something. I was just thinking, I know your cat's name, but I don't think you ever told me your name. While Subaru thought that bringing this up now might have not been the best time, the girl's eyes widened a bit in surprise. She then closed them, and after a few seconds of silence, said, "Satella." Oh, Subaru, who because of her silence had begun to think that he had made a mistake, was a bit late in reacting to her whispered reply. In response, the girl turned away from Subaru and continued, "I don't have a last name, so you can just call me Satella." Her voice had no emotion in it because of her attitude. It was just as if, though she was given her name, she was refusing to be called by it. Though her actions, this girl who gave her name as Satella was putting a distance between herself and Subaru, more than she had ever done before. Subaru, who already thought that he would feel more comfortable having a surname to call her by rather than having to use her personal name, felt that he really couldn't use that name at all. Oh man, for the time being, looking for a way out, Subaru decided to avoid using her name entirely, and instead of using pronouns, as he observed Subaru and instead just use pronouns. Okay. As he observed Subaru and the girls exchanged from the sidelines, Puck had one thing to say before slipping back under the girl's silver hair. "It's a really bad taste, you know," it muttered. Though its voice did not even reach the girl's ears, let alone Subaru's. How? How did it not? How did you not hear it? Yeah. Using the sound of the bustling crowds as a guide, Subaru and Satella walked back through the alley. They were in and reached the main road about 10 minutes later. Shifting his gaze this way and that, Subaru looked for who they should question first. When Satella, who stood beside him, pulled on his sleeve, "Hey, Subaru." When Subaru looked back at Satella, he saw that she... Oh, crap. She saw that she had her gaze fixed on something. On the other side of the street, Subaru looked in the same direction and realized what Satella was looking at. I have a bad feeling about this, he thought. Adding further weight to his fears, Satella continued with a serious look on her face. "Do you think that kid is lost? Out of all the possible things that could go wrong with this plan, the final one had reared its head. Well, one of the several things that Subaru had discovered throughout the day was that the silver-haired girl standing next to him was an incorrigibly nice or kind person. She would not ever admit it herself." Subaru sighed a deep sigh. "Let's just calm down for a minute. Wait, are we going to what are we gonna do if she gets up and goes somewhere while we're dilly-dallying?" Dilly-dallying, bro. Nah. "We've got to go talk to her right away. You know that kindness of yours is a great virtue, and given the fact that I myself was saved by that kindness, I really don't want to say this, but do you have any idea what situation you're in right now?" Where Satella was looking near the building across the street, there stood a young girl. She looked as though she was around 10 years old, with shoulder-length brown hair. That was very cute, if she smiled. The people around her probably would not be able to resist smiling back. But unfortunately, at the moment, her eyes were filled with anxiety, and she looked moments away from tears. There was probably an 80 or 90% chance that Satella's observation was correct. Subaru was sure it was, but there's also that screw-ups are partially at fault. But the thief who stole from you is just getting farther and farther away from us. If we waste any more time here, by the time we catch her, she might already have sold it, and then we'll have no way to get it back. You're probably right, but then certainly it would feel bad to just leave the girl like that. With all of the people around her, the chance that someone else would help her was high. On the other hand, Subaru and Satella were pressed for time and needed to gather information to continue their search. No matter how he thought about it, their current plan should have prioritized over helping that little girl, but don't you see, Subaru? Look at her, she's crying. If you don't want to stick around with me, that's just fine. Thanks for everything you've done, Subaru. I'll figure this out on my own. After I helped that little girl." While Subaru stood at a loss for words, Satella looked like she had already made her decision. The way she said it wasn't as though she was saying that. Subaru just didn't understand, and she was tired of him. But that she felt guilty for forcing Subaru to play along for unreasonableness. Her silver hair danced behind her. Satella trotted off across the street to where the little girl was standing. The girl who had been looking down with her teary eyes noticed that someone had suddenly come to her side. There was a glimmer of hope in her eyes as she looked up, probably because she thought the person she was looking for had found her. "I'm sorry, I'm not the one you're looking for," said Satella as she knelt down to talk to the girl, whose eyes opened wide in surprise. But in those eyes was not a feeling of relief, but a feeling of fear. You could tell, even from far away, that being spoken to by a stranger had caused her heart to shrink away afraid. I'm sorry if I'm bothering you, but where are your father and mother? Aren't they with you? It looked as though Satella had noticed the girl was afraid, and her voice was in a tone that was kinder than Subaru had ever heard it before. No, does it look like her father and mother are like with her? Like seriously, bro. They're clearly not with her because she wouldn't be sitting there crying.
Please don't cry. I won't do anything to hurt you, okay?
Satella tried to keep open the girl's heart before it shut completely on her, but it didn't seem to work, and the little girl only shook her head back and forth, and tears that had welled up in her eyes looked as though they were about to overflow when... what?
Now face your eyes on this magnificent notched 10 yen coin.
Huh? Said Satella, surprised by the sudden voice that had leapt in. And when she looked up, there was Subaru in his gray tracksuit. Subaru first smiled weakly at Satella's reaction, and then turned his smile from her to the little girl. The sudden intruder had also surprised her. Subaru then put on his right hand in front of her. Now, can you see this coin here in my right hand? I bet you can. All right, now I'm going to squeeze it tight like this. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
Wait, Subaru, what are you?
And would you look at that? Ignoring Satella's interruption, Subaru took his fist where he had been holding the notched 10 yen coin and opened it wide for the two to see. When did the coin that should have been in his hand was gone? Wow, the coin I was squeezing is gone. Now where could it have run off to? Bro, what's bro yapping about? The girl is racist. She thinks all half-elves are the Emilia, all the same. Emilia is dumb. What do you expect? She is also very bad at talking to people. Her social skills are as good as Subaru's. The difference is that Subaru is a tryhard when socializing. Damn, bro. Damn. The little girl blinked a few times and then stared hard at Subaru's right hand. Whether she looked at the back of his hand or the palm, she couldn't find it. Subaru, emboldened by the girl's reaction, nodded and then reached out with his left hand and gently brushed his finger through her hair. Would you look at that? So this is where the coin was hiding. When the little girl saw the coin resting between the fingers of Subaru's left hand, she was stunned. Satella, who couldn't figure out the trick, was just as confused. Subaru took a magnificent bow before the two and then dropped the notched 10 yen coin in the girl's hand. I'll let you keep it as a present. It's special. So take good care of it, okay? Subaru looked on with a smile as the little girl held the coin close and nodded vigorously. Bro, my leg fell asleep. My fucking leg fell asleep. Goddamn. As he was doing so, Satella poked him in the side. Hey, Subaru. Don't look at me like that. I mean, I'll admit what I said before was a bit harsh, but how did you do that? Oh, you mean that? You're not questioning my motives. You're not questioning my motives, but how I did the trick? Subaru promised to explain the trick later to Satella, who looked very interesting before turning back to the little girl who was looking very curious at the 10 yen coin. It seemed like Subaru's amazing magic had helped calm down her anxiety. When Subaru knelt down and asked her a few questions, she answered them quickly and clearly. I see. So you got separated from your mother, huh? Don't worry. Just leave it to your big brother and sister. We'll find her right away. You know, I remember this part. I remember this part from the anime. After giving the girl another pat on the head, Subaru held out his hand to her. And with a little hesitation, she grabbed it. Satella, who was watching, opened her eyes wide. You really look like you're used to this. Subaru, is your profession taming children? Or what? When you take it out of context like that, that sounds really, really bad. And no, I'm unemployed. Technically, Subaru had the incredibly convenient status of being a student. However, given that he hadn't been going to school for school lately, and particularly now that he had been summoned to a different world, he didn't really feel that he was qualified to call himself that anymore. But regardless, so big sister, how about you hold this lonely little girl's hand? She looks like she could use another friend, said Subaru with a wink. The little girl had reached her other hand, the one that was not holding onto Subaru's. Out Statella. Statella looked surprised for a moment and held her breath, but then let out and took the little girl's hand in her own. Right, don't worry. Just let your big sister handle this. We'll definitely find your mom, okay? Statella said, smiling at the little girl as she nodded slightly. Subaru and Statella led the girl along with her between them, and the three continued down the main road through the waves of people together. The way we are now, don't you think? Don't you think there are some people out there who could look at us and think that we're a young couple with our child? How embarrassing, huh? Even with the benefit of the doubt, I don't see how anyone would think that about you and that girl. About you and that girl are anything other than brother and sister. I can't tell if that's just a really dry joke or that's really what you thought. I mean, as Statella and Subaru went on talking, the little girl between them let a small smile spread across her face. Okay. Remember, Amelia has the mental age of 14. His magic trick thus works on both Lollies and on Amelia. Damn. Bro, look at her cake. Bro, he's alright. He's alright. You know? This little girl that's wear this little ears. Okay. Bro's still holding his plastic bag. Bro's still holding his ramen. He just has a plastic bag with ramen in it. He's still holding it, bro. What the fuck? He should have been walking around with that as his hand the entire time, bro. Man, how long is this chapter? Fortunately, perhaps because they really stood out as a group, it didn't take long before they found the little girl's mother. In this case, it wasn't only Subaru who stood out, but also Statella with her silver hair and extraordinary beauty. Thank you so much! Once the girl's mother was reunited with her child, she thanked Subaru and Statella several times. Though they smiled and played it off as if it were nothing, as the little girl and her mother were leaving, the girl looked back and waved goodbye several times, and Subaru and Statella waved back. Subaru turned to look at Statella as she stood beside him, waving to the girl, and saw that she had a bright and cheerful expression on her face. Now I get the feeling that we've wasted a lot of time doing this. But what does our big sister have to say? I'm sure she'll find some kind of way to describe this as a means to an end, Subaru said in an orchestrated manner, snapping his fingers and making fun of Statella's all-to-know kind nature. Of course, he wasn't really criticizing her. It was more that he was just poking fun. After all, Statella had given such a roundabout excuse. But why her encounter with Subaru was useful, so he was curious to hear what she would say. It's simple. In response to Subaru's teasing, Statella smiled. Now we can be in a good mood as we continue to search. Even if we got my badge back, I'm sure I would have regretted not helping that girl. Don't you think that it'd be better to both help the girl and get my badge back? I didn't look at Statella was just saying that to keep it didn't look like Statella was just was saying that just to keep her own hopes up. She looked so refreshed she probably believed it. With that kind of response, Subaru really didn't know what to say. He would have to rethink his opinion of the girl. Not only was she the type of person who was so kind she always ended up losing everything, she also was the type of person who wanted to have it all. I see. You're right. Thanks to your quick decisions, we won't have to say, "Sure, we abandoned that little anxious crying girl all lost and by herself, but we were able to get the badge back safe and sound. Hooray!" "Well, that's a really negative way to put it," said Satella, frowning, then glaring at him as though she seemed to have remembered something. "But besides that, why did you help me? I thought you were against helping the girl. But besides that, why did you help me? I thought you were against helping the girl, Subaru. I just want to show off my ability to do magic tricks." Which is, of course, a lie. The girl, doesn't that count for a good deed for the day already? It's a very good argument. But I mean, it's not like I'm limited to one a day or anything. I can do more, so anyways, I'm going to do enough for today. So I'm actually planning to get this whole week out of the way. Subaru had the feeling that he was getting away from the true meaning of this whole do one good deed a day concept. But he still tried to make an argument. Satella stood by shocked. Subaru, with a personality like that, you're going to end up losing everything one day. You're the last person I want to hear that from, Subaru shouted, flipping her words back towards her. Okay, I'm on page 60 and 61. Real quick, I need to see how much is left. Damn, all the way up to someone 60, 61, 88 to 89. So about like page 90 is when the next one starts. So I've been streaming for 2 hours already. We've read up to here, so I don't know. Let's see. Just tilted her head in confusion. Apparently, she really just didn't get it. You really are a nice boy, aren't you? You know, it kind of bothers me that you're treating me like I'm younger than you. I know that a lot of people think East Asians are younger than they are, but we really can't be that different in age, can we? Subaru thought that by a rough estimate, Satella looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. Given that Subaru had a rather early birthday compared to others in his age group, he was 17 and thought that it was possible she could even be younger than him. But in response, Satella narrowed her violet eyes slightly and said, "However old you think I am, I don't think that you're very close. After all, I'm a half-elf." Subaru was at a loss for words. Seeing his response, a number of complicated emotions flashed across Satella's eyes. Finally, the emotion that settled was an inevitable mixture of resignation and hopelessness. "I see. No wonder you're so cute. After all, it's like a given in fantasy worlds that elves are always beautiful." Huh? Subaru finally nodded, having come to his own conclusions about Satella being a half-elf. Satella blinked her eyes several times. Her expectations had completely missed their mark. What's wrong?" "It's not that anything is wrong, it's just, I mean, I'm a half-elf and..." "Yeah, I heard you the first time." Unsure of what Satella had a problem with, that's the only way Subaru could think to answer, but Satella's reaction was dramatic. "Ah!" Satella made a strange sound in her throat before suddenly turning away from Subaru, finding the nearest wall, kneeling beside it, and holding her silver-haired head in her hand. In the face of such an inexplicable reaction, Subaru just didn't know what to say. Take that? What the hell is that for?" The gray cat, which as always seemed to come and go as it pleased, had punched him in the face with its paw, like it was reenacting a fancy fighting move. flicked at his whiskers with the same paw he had punched Subaru with. I don't know, I just felt like this overwhelming frustration and couldn't keep it bottled up inside of me. If that's the only reason, it's going to be hard to get rid of the feeling that a great injustice had been done to me. But it was a soft and squishy punch, so I forgive you. I mean, I'm not really mad at you or anything. If I had to say one way or the other, I'd say it's the opposite. The opposite? Said Subaru, confused. Yes, the opposite, Puck said with a nod. But before Subaru could ask what Puck really meant by that, Satella had returned. Twisting the ends of her hair, silver hair, in her fingers, Satella glared at Subaru. Subaru, you nincompoop! Bro, what is with these? Fun fact: Subaru's birthday is April Fool's because he's a joke. Bro, what? Nobody uses the word nincompoop anymore. And what have I done to be insulted by you? If you don't understand, that's not my problem. More importantly, you've got to continue our search. With the subject of Satilla's unreasonableness cut off without another word, Subaru looked irritated. But that irritation evaporated as Satella began to act more friendly and familiar. Subaru still didn't know why she'd had such a sudden change in attitude. But there were more important things to that. About. Yeah. You know what? I still have how much? That's about 20 more pages to read. Right? It's about like 20 more pages to read. So I think we'll end the stream here. I'll continue maybe tomorrow. And we'll continue the rest of this. You know, also my phone died, so yeah. She already used to have a crush on Subaru at this point. Yeah. She already used to have a crush on Subaru. Then fucking Subaru dies. And then this version of fucking Emilia doesn't even exist anymore. Or she does exist, I think. Or does Emilia die as well? I don't remember. Does Emilia also die at the end? I think Subaru and Emilia dies in the first like, what do you call them? Like wave. I don't know what you call it. Like the first world. Yeah, because all the worlds still exist. Because that's how it was. They kind of explained that before. I think in season 2, right? Like all the worlds still exist, just without Subaru. She gets erased anyway when he loops. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but I don't know. Either way, I'm pretty sure she dies as well in here. But anyway, she doesn't exist. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna end the stream here. Probably continue tomorrow. We will see. No, all the worlds existing after his death is just a theory by King Nut. I see. I don't know. Whatever. I'm getting tired. I got off work, so I'm gonna probably I gotta continue it when I'm like, more awake. Even though I'm always tired. It's just I'm getting tired reading, and like my vision's getting blurry, so it's like kind of hard to read. And like when I get tired, especially while doing visual novels, I start like kind of getting There's evidence that the world is destroyed and rebuilt by Subaru. I see. But yeah. Well, that was that. That was the first 62 pages that took 2 hours to read. The first 62 pages took 2 hours to read. Yay. Let's go. I should be able to get farther next time, though, in a shorter amount of time, because I kind of just kept on yapping sometimes. And then at the beginning, I was kind of, I don't know, we'll get ready. Nah. I don't feel like it. Let me switch over to here. I'm not here. I don't exist because I am dead. I don't know. But either way, guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. 2 hours and a half, just about almost 2 hours and a half. Yeah.
I don't know why I keep moving my face expressively. My phone's not picking up my model, so why do I keep moving my face expressively, bro? So I always have to move my face in an expressive manner so I can show more expression on my model. I keep doing that, even though it's not even freaking tracking right now because my phone is dead. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, possibly. Bye.